So let's come to the next case study. Ayush, the proprietor of BCB and Company Chartered Accountants, was appointed to audit the financial statements of Amrita Industries Private Limited for 30 to 33. These financial statements were prepared in accordance with Dutch GAAP and the terms and conditions specified in the contract between Amrita Industries and Dutch Industries. This is known as the contract is entered. So looks like SA 800 special purpose framework financial statements prepared in accordance with the provisions of a contract. Okay. Right. Then one of the terms and conditions of the contract was to get the financial statements audited from an independent auditor. The contract also stipulated auditors to take into account misstatements of £5,000 or more while framing their report, right? So the materiality level has been prescribed in the contract. Any misstatements identified below this threshold does not require correction or adjustment in terms of stipulation in the contract. While planning the audit team has also determined the performance materiality and the overall materiality as this. The following information extracted from the general purpose financial statements of Amrita Industries prepared in accordance with the provisions of Companies Act is given as under. Turnover, borrowings from bank and the paid up capital. Okay, right. Amrita Industries Private Limited. Figures rupees and crore, turnover, borrowings and the paid up capital. The borrowing from bank of the working capital credit facilities only. The company had been enjoying such credit facilities with a sanctioned amount of 75 crore. The credit facilities were enhanced to 100 crore at the beginning of 30 to 33. Outstanding balance in the above credits has never crossed the sanction limit at any point during each of the above years. Shubham, partner at DB Associate Chartered Accountant firm, was appointed as the engagement partner for audit of the general purpose financial statements of the Amrita Industries Private Limited for 30 to 33. Before finalizing audit plan, BB Associates asked for internal audit report. However, management informed that there was no internal audit team or function in the organization. So we have to check the applicability of section 138. Whether Amrita Industries Private Limited, do they need to appoint an internal auditor? During the course of audit of the general purpose financial statement, Anand, an audit executive, performed risk assessment procedures, TOC, and substantive procedures, so audit procedures. He performed a trend analysis to compare the purchase of raw material in various months. He also performed purchase, production, sales cycle analysis to understand inventory holding. Besides going through the company internal control manual and visiting the company plant, inquiries were also made with company information system personnel to provide information about the control failures. Diligent inquiries were also made from company marketing personnel regarding contractual agreements, arrangements with the customers. Inquiries were also made from the company's in-house legal counsel. So a lot of inquiries being done under the risk assessment procedures. And communications were also made with the company's external legal counsel by sending a letter of inquiry. Okay. Right, so risk assessment procedure, SA 315, SA 500, audit procedure. While issuing the report, BCD and company inserted an other matter paragraph in the audit report specifying the use of the special purpose financial reporting framework for preparing and presenting the financial statements. On the other hand, BD and Associates decided to issue an adverse opinion on all the financial statement except the cash flow statement and an unmodified opinion on the cash flow statement. So that is SA 805, where you're doing an audit of a part of the financial statement, single financial statement, specific element, account or item. As per BB and Associates, the cash flow statement was prepared as per the required method and hence it did reflect the appropriate figure. On the basis of the facts, answer the MCQ. The audit team of BCB and company were not sure which materiality to choose because one level of materiality was given under the contract and another level of materiality was determined by the audit team. Right? So they were confused which materiality to be used. Right? So what does it say? Or not sure which materiality to choose to evaluate the effect of the identified misstatements and the uncorrected misstatements in order to form an opinion and in order to obtain the reasonable assurance that financial statements are free. You are required to guide the audit team by select the appropriate option from below. In case of special purpose financial statements, management may agree with the intended users on a threshold below which misstatements identified will not be corrected or adjusted. The existence of such a threshold does not relieve the auditor from determining materiality in accordance with P20 for the purpose of planning and performing the audit of the special purpose financial statements. Those of you who've already studied SA 800, some bell might be ringing in your head. I think so. Okay. In case of special purpose financial statements, management may agree with the intended users on a threshold below which the misstatements identified during the audit will not be will not be corrected or otherwise adjusted. The existence of such a threshold is sufficient to comply with the requirement of materiality in accordance with 320. So it says only that is enough, no need for 320 materiality. In case of special purpose, misstatements based on consideration of financial information needs of the intended users are considered material and pervasive. However, the auditor needs to follow the threshold limit provided in the terms of the contract, and such threshold should be considered as performance materiality. So again, no need for a separate 320. Auditor is required to comply with each requirement of an essay unless in the circumstances of the audit the entire essay is not relevant, or it is not relevant, essay is not relevant, or it is the conditional and the condition does not exist. In the case of the audit of special purpose financial statement, the requirement of 320 is not applicable in the entirety. Right, so if we come to the text of essay 800 in the audit procedure, one of the points that we see over there in the audit procedure is sometimes the threshold of materiality could be given in the special purpose framework. So auditor, do you need to consider the threshold which has been given under the special purpose framework? Yes. However, the existence of such a threshold does not relieve the auditor from the requirement to determine materiality as per 320. Could you even imagine if this particular line has become an MCQ in the exam? Right, that threshold of materiality may be given under the special purpose framework. However, that threshold does not relieve the auditor from determining the materiality in accordance with SA 320. So that is why what would be the correct option? A. A would be the correct option. Manish, the audit manager of BCD and company, objected to the insertion of the other matter paragraph. According to him, there is no such requirement to insert other matter paragraph to disclose the use of a special purpose framework. Whether contention of Manish is an order. Auditor's report on special purpose will include an other matter paragraph, right, alerting the users of the audit report that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with special purpose framework and they may not be suitable for another purpose. To avoid misunderstanding, the auditor shall mention that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with special purpose framework and therefore may not be suitable for another purpose in management responsibility section. Adding another matter paragraph will result in duplication, hence the same should be avoided. The auditor may consider it appropriate to indicate that audit report is intended only for the specific users and may not be suitable for another user by adding a key audit matter. So first other matter, then they say management responsibility section, then key audit matter. The auditor's report on special purpose financial statements will include an emphasis of matter, alerting the users that the financial statements are prepared in accordance with the special purpose framework and as a result they may not be suitable for another purpose. Right? So it comes under the emphasis of matter paragraph. Chitram, the audit manager at DB Associates, is seeking your guidance in drafting separate opinion on the cash flow statement and the other financial statements. Guide the audit manager by selecting the appropriate option from below. The auditor's opinion on the entire financial statements is adverse opinion. But what does it say? For a single financial statement, that is only for the cash flow, an unmodified opinion is to be issued. What does SA 805 say? That if the auditor's opinion on the entire financial statements is adverse or disclaimer, if the auditor's opinion on the audited, the complete financial statements is adverse or disclaimer, single financial statement, what is SFS? Single financial statement, balance sheet, profit and loss, cash flow, unmodified opinion can never be issued. Why? Because it will contradict your adverse or disclaimer of opinion on the entire financial statements. Because it's like you're saying entire financial statements not true and fair, but cash flow true and fair. No. Right? So single financial statement, unmodified opinion can never be issued. However, what do we say? That, for the specific element account item, still an unmodified opinion can be issued. If they are not published together, it does not constitute a major portion. Right? Then it says a separate, and it is not prohibited by law. Then an unmodified opinion can be issued for specific element account item. But for single financial statement, never. Okay. Right. So when the auditor considers it necessary to express an adverse or disclaimer on the financial statements as a whole, audit report will not include an unmodified opinion with respect to the same financial reporting framework on a single financial statement. So entire financial statements, adverse disclaimer, single financial statement, unmodified opinion cannot be issued, will not include. The expression of a disclaimer of opinion regarding results of operation and cash flow where relevant, and an unmodified opinion regarding financial position is allowed. In this case, the auditor has expressed a disclaimer of opinion on the financial statements as a whole and a separate opinion on cash flow. So it's not a disclaimer of opinion. It's given very clearly. Right? What does it say? Right? On the other hand, decided to issue an adverse opinion on the financial statements. Right? Except for the cash flow, an unmodified opinion on the cash flow. Right? So no. Right? The expression of an unmodified opinion prepared under a given reporting framework and within the same report, expression of an adverse opinion on the financial statements under the same framework is permissible within the same report? No. An adverse or disclaimer relating to a specific matter described within the basis for opinion paragraph does not limit the auditor's responsibility to issue an unmodified opinion on the identified matters that would not require a modification of the audit opinion. Right? You cannot just give any description in auditor's responsibility paragraph and justify. And you say, I'm putting it in the same report, that is why it is allowed. Or a disclaimer of opinion, no. Right? So what is the correct option over there? A. Okay. The company has violated the provisions of the Companies Act by not appointing an internal auditor. Which of the following statement is likely to be the correct reason necessitating the appointment of an internal auditor and for matters relating to appointment of internal auditor for 3233 in the described situation in accordance with the provisions of law? Right. So what does section 138 say? For its Amrita Industries Private Limited. Right, so it says turnover of more than or equal to 200 crore during the preceding financial year. So if they're for 32-33, then you have to check it for 31-32. Right, or the borrowings are more than or it is more than 100 crore at any point of time, again during the preceding financial year, not in the current financial year. The company was required to appoint an internal auditor for 32-33 as it has. Right, for 32-33, as it has fulfilled the necessary condition relating to turnover during financial year 31-32. Such an internal auditor may be an individual or a partnership firm. What does it say? It has to be an individual. Right? It cannot be a partnership firm. And let us look at what is the turnover and the borrowings of the preceding financial year. Right, so do I need to check the paid up capital? What is borrowing from bank? 75. So it is less than 100 and turnover 200 crore or more in the preceding financial year. Right, so that is because they've exceeded the turnover limit, they need to appoint the internal auditor, but they cannot appoint individual or partnership firm. Okay, so that is why out. Next one, the company was required to appoint an internal auditor during the year as it fulfilled the condition for turnover, borrowing, paid up capital. Oh my God. And for 32-33, so current financial year, no, we need to check it for the preceding financial year. So we don't like this. It's such an internal auditor, maybe individual partnership firm or body corporate. Okay. Right. Then after that, what does it say? Individual partnership firm only. Then the company was required to appoint an internal auditor as it has fulfilled the condition relating to turnover. Such an internal auditor, what does it say? Maybe an individual, a partnership or a body corporate. Here they said only individual partnership firm. Now your individual partnership firm or a body corporate. He may or may not be an employee. If he is not an employee, it could be an outside person or a firm or a body corporate. And company to appoint an internal auditor as it has fulfilled the conditions relating to turnover and borrowing for the current year. No, not related to the current year. Again, it is related to the preceding financial year, right? So that is why the correct option would be C. Right? That is why the correct option would be C. An Anand, an audit executive, has performed various procedures during the course of audit. Which of the following procedure, combination of procedure, is not likely to be considered as risk assessment procedure? right? Performing trend analysis, then we're going through company's internal control manual, visiting company's plant, right? So he's doing analytical procedure, he's going through the company manual, so that is inspection, and also visiting the company plant, so again inspection and observation. Inquiries from company marketing personnel, in-house legal personnel, so that's the inquiry. Communication with the company's external legal counsel by sending a letter of inquiry. So here the auditor has ended up doing the external confirmation process as a part of your risk assessment procedure. And inquiry is made with the company's information system personnel to provide information about the control failure and going through the internal control manual. So that is again a part of the risk assessment procedure. So what is not likely to be considered as a risk assessment procedure? This communication with the company's external legal counsel by sending a letter of the inquiry. Right? So that completes our case study over there. Okay.